Good morning, students. Today we'll begin with the short and discussion of short and long question answers of geography lesson number 3. In our previous class, we have completed this lesson and we have discussed very short question answers of the same. Now, today we will begin our class with the discussion of short and long of lesson number 3 geography. Then we are going to continue with the geography lesson number 4 air. So, first question, what are exogenic and endogenic forces? Exogenic forces are those forces which act on the surface of the earth and cause changes on the surface of the earth. And example is weathering, gradation, erosion, deposition. So these are all exogenic forces. They force, as the word indicates, we have understood in the lesson also that exogenic means these forces which acts on the surface outside the earth's surface, and that causes the changes also on the surface of the earth. Then endogenic forces, they are those forces which originate in the interior of the earth and cause changes on the surface of the earth. So in endogenic, as we have understood that endo means interior. So interior of the earth, whatever forces originate, they make changes on the surface of the earth, and that is called as endogenic forces. An example, we have read about volcanoes and earthquake. Second, how are floodplains formed? Floodplains are formed in the following manner, that first, during rains, rivers overflow their banks, and as soon as the river overflows their banks, this leads to the flooding of the nearby areas. And as it floods, it deposits a layer of fine material and other materials. So the layer of fine materials and other material is called sediments, which deposits which settle down along the banks, and this leads to the formation of floodplain. Now, what are the oxbow lakes? When the meander loop is cut off from the main river, it forms a cut-off lake, and its shapes is like a oxbow. Hence, the cut-off lake is called the oxbow lake. Now, next, this all we have understood through the diagram given in the book. Then what are sand dunes? In the desert, the fast moving winds lift and transport the sand from one place to another. When the wind stops blowing, the sand falls and get deposited in the low hill-like structures. And these low hill-like structures are known as sand dunes. And this we have read and understood uh, in the topic work of wind. Next, what are earthquakes, and define, you have to define focus and epicenter. Now, earthquake, when the lithosphere plates move, the surface of the earth vibrates, and the vibrations travel all around the earth. These vibrations are called earthquake, and this all uh, we have read about through the diagram only of the earthquake which is given in your book, and then there only we have read understood about focus, that the place or the point in the crust where the movement start is called the focus, and the epicenter is the place or the surface just above the focus, and is called an epicenter. Next, we have seen about the earthquake preparedness. So, explain. The next question is explain earthquake preparedness. Now, how should you get prepared? Be prepared if earthquake occurs. So, when an earthquake strikes, we should do the following things. Number one, we should be in safe spot like under a kitchen counter, table, or desk, and we should stand against an inside corner or the wall. We should also stay away from the fireplace areas, around chimneys, windows that shatter, including mirrors and picture frames. So we should stay away from all these places. And we should prepare by arousing awareness. We should make the friends and family members also aware that they should also be prepared with to face this earthquake. Then lastly, we should face any disaster confidently, means whether it is an earthquake or any other natural disaster, we should have confident enough to face that particular disaster. So these are the points for the earthquake preparedness. Describe the work of the ice. Now, glaciers are river of ice. They too erode the landscape by bulldozing soil and stones and expose the solid rock below. Now, as we have seen in the lesson, that glaciers are the river of ice which to erode means which to uh, gradually destroy the landscape by bulldozing the soil, by making the soil visible. When they erode, when they gradually destroy the landscape, then definitely they will bulldoze the soil and stones. That means they make visible the soil and stones to expose the soil rock below. Now glaciers carve out deep hollows. They also cut out deep hollows. As the ice melts, they get filled up with the water and become beautiful lakes in the mountains. And the material carried by the glacier, like big and small rocks, sand, silt, gets deposited, and these deposits form the glacier moraines. So these seven questions can come in the form of short and long. Uh, then next, give reasons are there. Some rocks have the shape of mushroom because of the following reasons. These reasons I have given. Then floodplains are the very fertile because of the following reason. Why floodplains are very fertile? The second, uh, give reason which is given in your book, and I had explained in this way. Then sea caves are turned into stacks because of the following reasons. So these give reasons can also be asked in the form of question and answers or in the form of give reason itself. So you have to prepare this also. And building collapse uh, due to earthquake because of the following reasons. So building also collapse. Now this is the fourth. By mistake I have written here third. Third is sea caves are turned into stacks because of the following reason. Fourth is building collapse due to the earthquake because of the following reasons, and these are the reasons why building collapse due to the earthquake. So, and lastly, note, that means you have to draw a neat and labeled diagram. In the book it is already given these diagrams. You have to just see the book. That is first diagram you have to draw about a volcano, which is given in figure 3.2 in your book. The origin of the earthquake, which is given in figure 3.3 in your book. Then figure 3.5, it is given the features made by river in the floodplain. So you have to draw all these three diagrams, also the label diagrams. Whatever, first you draw the diagram, then whatever the written part is there about that particular diagram, you have to mention all everything in neat and clean handwriting. So in the notebook now, after first of all you have done very short question answers there, whatever I've asked you in the previous class. Now the next thing of this lesson you will do is short and long question answers. All these seven question answers you will do it neatly. Then after these seven question answers, you have to do give reasons also in the notebook. And after give reasons, in the last you have to draw the neat label diagrams of these three figures which I am mentioning over here in the PDF. So do this work in the notebook in the neat and clean handwriting, and try to learn from now onwards only, so that during the exams you don't feel uh, hard to learn or difficult to learn. Now next we are going to start with the new topic, new lesson, that is air. Now first and foremost thing, what is air? Now air is the when the atmosphere of the earth is the layer of gases. We have already seen that the atmosphere of the earth is the layer of gases. Commonly it is known as air. So what is air? Air is the atmosphere of earth, which is the layer of gases. It is commonly called as air. And in this lesson, we are going to read more about the different types of gases present in the atmosphere. Then, next, after this, we will read about the structure of the atmosphere also, which is divided into five important layers. That is, each layer we will read it separately. Then, after that, we will read about weather and climate also. About in weather and climate topic only, we will read about temperature. We will understand air pressure also. We will understand wind also, different types of winds. That winds can be broadly divided into three types: permanent, seasonal, local winds. And in previous lesson, as we have read about earthquake, in this lesson you will read about, you will know more about cyclone. Then moisture also, and thus we will come to an end. So first, now we will begin with the topic, that is air, the introduction of this lesson. Our earth is surrounded by huge blanket of the air called atmosphere. You can underline this now. What is first and foremost, what is atmosphere? Our earth is surrounded by huge blanket of air which is called as atmosphere. Then all living beings on this earth depends on the atmosphere. As you are all aware that without this atmosphere the life is not possible. So all living beings, whether we as a human being, whether plant life, whether animal life, all the living beings on the earth depend on the atmosphere for their survival. And why they depend on the atmosphere for the survival? What is importance of the atmosphere? That it provides us air we breathe and protect us from the harmful effects of the sun rays. So the importance of this atmosphere is that whatever air we breathe, it is provided by this atmosphere only, and it also protect us from the harmful effects of the sun rays. The sun rays, as you know, too hot it is, and it can harm our body. Then this layer of atmosphere protect us from those harmful rays. Without this blanket of protection, we would be baked alive by the heat of the sun during day and get frozen during the night. That means if this blanket of atmosphere, this protection is not there, we would be surely baked alive by the heat of the sun. So much heat of the sun is there that during the day will not be able to tolerate that much of heat of the sun, and we will surely baked alive. And at night also, if this atmosphere, the layer of atmosphere is not there, we would have been frozen in the on the earth at night time. So it is this mass of air that has made the temperature on the earth livable. That means just because of this atmosphere only, the air present, the blanket of air present, that is called atmosphere. It is due to this atmosphere only that has made the temperature on earth livable for the living beings, that the living uh, we are living on the earth just because of the presence of atmosphere only. So you can underline this mass of air that has made the temperature on the earth livable. Next, composition of the atmosphere. Now, do you know that the air we take in while breathing is actually a mixture of gases? Now question arises that you are aware of whatever air you breathe in, it is actually the mixture of gases. Yes, whatever we breathe, we intake the air, it is the mixture of gases. And underline this, nitrogen and oxygen are two gases which make up a bulk of atmosphere. So which are the two main gases which make a bulk of atmosphere? Bulk of atmosphere means most of the part of atmosphere consists of nitrogen and oxygen. Means nitrogen and oxygen consist most of the part of atmosphere. That is why it is called as bulk of atmosphere is consists of nitrogen and oxygen. Then other gases which are present in the atmosphere apart from nitrogen and oxygen are carbon dioxide, helium, ozone, argon, and hydrogen are found in lesser quantities. So apart from oxygen and nitrogen, these are the other gases which are also present in the atmosphere but in less quantity. Apart from these gases, tiny dust particles are also present in the air. So, apart from all these gases, is the bulk of nitrogen and oxygen, and the lesser quantities of carbon dioxide, helium, ozone, argon, and hydrogen. Apart from these gases, tiny particles, dust particles, are also present in the air. The pie chart gives you the a percentage of different constituents of the air. Now, this pie chart you can see and you can observe that here most of the part of atmosphere consists of nitrogen, that is 78% is of nitrogen, and then 21% is of oxygen here in the blue color. Then little bit the argon is 0.93 here you can see. Then other gases you can see 0.05%, and carbon dioxide is 0.03% only. So this is the pie chart through which you can check out that what percentage is there of each gas which is present in the atmosphere. Next, nitrogen is the most plentiful gas in the air. Now, which is the most plentiful gas in the air? That is nitrogen. When we inhale, we take some amount of nitrogen into our lungs and exhale it. That means when we inhale the air, when we intake the air inside, when we breathe inside, we nitrogen is the most plentiful gas in the air. And when we inhale the gas, when we inhale the air, that means intake the air we breathe, we take some amount of nitrogen also into our lungs, and that only we will take it out by exhale process. That means when we intake, when we consume air, when we breathe air, some amount of nitrogen also we take into our lungs, and that all only we take out the same thing when we breathe out. But plants need nitrogen for their survival. Plants also need the nitrogen for their survival. They cannot take nitrogen directly from the air. Now, plants also need the nitrogen for their, you can underline this, for the survival, but they cannot take nitrogen directly from the air. And what helps them to take the nitrogen? Bacteria. Now what are bacteria? Bacteria that lives in the soil and root of the some plants take nitrogen from the air and change its form so that plant can use it. So plant also needs nitrogen for their survival, and but they can't take directly that nitrogen. So bacteria helps them. The bacteria which are present in the soil and roots of those plants, they help them to take nitrogen by changing the nitrogen form to other thing, and that form is taken by the plants. So today I end up here only. In our next class, we will continue with the oxygen as the second most plentiful gas. Till then, read till here only and try to understand the lesson. If any doubt, you can ask me in our next class. Thank you.